Hello, and welcome to Own Your Retirement. My name is Albert Lalonde from Kaizen Financial Group. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 586-752-7008 or visit us online at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen. And while on my website, click on our podcast page and check out our past shows and also to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or Amazon Music. Okay, when thinking about what you hear, about your finances, let's say, and retirement, it's common to, mainly consider big things like your nest egg and monthly budgets, the community you're going to, let's say, call home, your health care, and the legacy you'll leave behind for those who matters the most. And those are big topics that warrants a significant amount of thought. But you should also consider some of the under the radar things that can, impact both your retirement budget and your retirement happiness. Now, I am often remind my clients that retirement comes after decades of hard work, careful planning, and financial discipline. That means that you want to have a retirement in which you can adequately balance your bills with your desire to enjoy, your post-work life, the fun we're talking about. Now, during our time together, today we're going to discuss how you can be both personally, physically, financially happy during your retirement. But before we delve into that, let me introduce my co-host, Tony Shore, who is an expert at balancing fact and fun during our shows. Hey, Tony, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Albert. Thanks for that great introduction. And yeah, we like to try to mix a little fun with the facts here on the show and balance the financial facts with a little bit of fun. And speaking of fun, I had a great weekend. We had a family rebellion or reunion. I'm sorry. Did I say rebellion?
Sometimes it is.
Did I say family rebellion? That's what we call the family reunion, but that went well. That was fun. Seeing some people that I hadn't seen, some relatives I hadn't seen in a long time. And all three of our kids, my wife and I went, and all three of our kids came.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's really good. They're 19, 21, and 25 now. So yeah, it's to get them, to attend the family reunion is an accomplishment.
Oh yeah, I can say, especially at those ages.
Yeah. And my oldest, 25, he's married, and him and his wife showed up, and we ate a lot of good grub, had a lot of good food there, and it was outdoors. It was beautiful on Sunday, as you know, for a cookout, right?
Yes, I do. We had our big client appreciation barbecue here just last Sunday. A little over 360 folks showed up.
Wow.
At the park, and
That's
it was
great.
wonderful. A lot of food. Weather turned out great, a little cool, which was perfect because we had a theme Western showdown or hoedown they call it, and I had my cowboy boots and hats and jeans. So I did my part.
Of that. I want to see pictures of that. Well, and we've learned from you in the past on past shows that, hey, preparing for retirement isn't strictly a financial or even emotional process. It's both.
Yes.
And when those two things are in balance, when you want to be happy and meet your goals and have the finances straightened out, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Tony. In fact, when your finances are in balance and your personal life is also probably in balance, and when you have all of that, your personal life being all together with your financial, that's when financial life becomes good. In fact, an AARP article, 10 Secrets of Happy Retirement, actually has some interesting insights for our topics today. So let's begin with the importance of maintaining your status as a bigger saver than you really are as a spender near your retirement finish line. I've told many people this. Many financial service professionals like me recommend having at least, $500,000 saved before you leave your career behind. Other financial services professionals recommend having as much as $1 million saved. Now, the size of your personal nest egg will likely come down to your anticipated needs and your goals. But a good way to possibly reach your personal retirement savings goals is to pay off your mortgage as soon as possible. For many of my clients, and I'm sure for many of you listening right now, a mortgage is their single largest monthly expense. And accordingly, once your mortgage is no longer on your back, well, you can dedicate more money to beefing up your nest egg.
Well, and let's not forget about the fun aspect too. If you get your mortgage paid off, that's more money you can put toward the fun stuff like travel and your hobbies, things like that, right?
Oh, for sure, big time. You don't have that big cloud or obligation above you. Now, I recognize that the idea of paying off your mortgage for most doing it early is daunting, but sit down with your financial services professional to discuss the matter and then reveal how your strategies that you weren't aware of that could maybe help you in getting that mortgage paid off a little bit faster. And now you've mentioned hobbies here, Tony. Well, let's discuss that a bit as well. Maintaining hobbies, both old and new, well, it's an important chapter in your retirement story. You got to find purpose, meaning, activity in your life. So when I think about my own clients, the ones who are often the happiest, well, are those who are still curious, still learning. They want to learn new things and go to new places. And again, having a financial strategy that balances both financial and personal needs can really help you pursue those new interests, Tony.
Yeah, and that balance is one more reason to work with somebody like yourself, a financial
Mhm.
services professional. Even if you hit your savings target, you need to stick to a budget and, make adjustments along the way while working with somebody like yourself to help with those decisions, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Tony. In fact, don't bear the burden of building, let's say, a strategy on your own, folks. Work with an experienced financial services professional. Now, while learning, let's say, how to cruise around on a e-bike or finally get into work on that mystery novel that you've always wanted to write. Those are great ways to try new things, but don't forget about the value of having some routines as well, by volunteering at a school or a nonprofit or building meals at a food shelf. You're not just occupying time on your calendar, you're actually staying active in a way that also helps you avoid overspending.
Yeah, we don't want to overspend. And
Mhm.
as you've talked about before, 40 or 50 years, you've worked full time, your job filled at least 40 hours a week, probably of your time.
Mhm.
So once you retire, that's a lot of extra time on your hands that you're going to need to fill.
Yes.
And that can be really tough for some people, can it?
Oh, it really can. And along those same lines, don't fill all the new free time by compulsively checking your portfolio or visiting the same two, let's say news sites over and over. Get out of that funk, folks. Get out there, experience your community. Visit that new restaurant, catch some Shakespeare in the Park. That's one of my favorites. Many communities offer much more than we sometimes realize. And if you're like many of my clients, one of your biggest retirement goals, well, is more time with your grandkids. And while I encourage that, I also remind clients, to not overly indulge them. Overspending on your grandkids could lead to some difficult conversations with your financial service professional. And remember, these two words, budget and balance. And when it comes to repeatedly checking how your portfolio is performing, for lack of, let's say, anything better to do, this is the habit that could lead to also rash decisions. So I feel that the best way to adequately monitor your portfolio is, well, have regular meetings with your financial services professional.
Yeah, good advice. Yeah, and at least once a year, if not more, and make sure you're working with a fiduciary, somebody who's looking out for your best interests. Speaking of that, on that note, let's take a moment here to let our listeners and viewers know how they can get a hold of you to set up that no charge, no obligation consultation to either get a second opinion on where they're at with their retirement income planning and finances or to get a plan in place.
Yeah, folks, if you want to learn how to have fun and be financially secure in retirement, visit my website at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen. Or call my office at 586-752-7008 and discuss how we can answer your questions and address your concerns about your retirement goals and the fun you want to have.
Yeah. And during today's show, you've been talking about some factors that can help folks out there balance their financial and personal needs during retirement, and a plan before you get to retirement to do that. A balanced strategy can help you avoid outliving your money as well, right? And so, your retirement means your calendar is more open than any
Hmm.
time since you were a kid. But
Right.
if you aren't careful, more time can lead to more spending. The more free time. Every day is a Saturday in retirement, right? Isn't that what they say? So
Basically, yes.
so you wanna make sure that you're protecting that nest egg and working with somebody like yourself.
Yes. And, if we go back to the AARP article, 10 Secrets of a Happy Retirement, it actually has some more details that no, we can find interesting here. In fact, after the last piece of your retirement cake has been handed out and you leave the office, let's say for the final time, well, a big part of your identity goes away. And if, let's say, you were a teacher for 40 years or engineer for 50 years, what are you now? That's a mental hurdle millions of retirees must clear. This is where finding a new purpose really comes into play. And if you've always wanted to, let's say, do a rose garden, but didn't have the time, now you can take a community education gardening class, let's say, and get started. My clients fill their retirement with lots of different activities, recording audiobooks for, let's say, the visually impaired, shelving books at the library, serving as cross guards actually at the elementary school. The list goes on and on, but let me be clear here that I don't bring this up as a, let's say, fluff information. There is a direct financial benefit by filling your time with these kinds of activities. In fact, when you're volunteering or enjoying, let's say, a modest hobby, you aren't out there overspending on meals or impulse shopping. In fact, when it comes to your retirement, that's actually a really good thing to be doing.
Yeah, and that really hits home with me. It's easy to think of retirement as this long, endless adventure,
Right.
but endless adventures cost money. So I,
Yes.
I that's why this balance we're talking about is essential.
It does, it is, and maintaining strong bonds, let's say too, with your circle of friends. Ooh, that's another way to build a fulfillment or fulfilling retirement without blowing up your budget as well. And I'm not talking about liking the occasional Facebook post or leaving a short voicemail message. I mean, regular potluck dinners or weekend road trips together. Maybe a day-long hike with your closest friends keeps your mind and body active, your wallet full. And also, while maintaining old friendships is important, there's also real value in building new friendships. Even if you're, let's say, in your 70s, if you volunteer someplace that has a lot of younger staff or volunteers, try to get to know them. Friendships with people that are younger than you may be a great way to keep up on the latest pop culture news or the latest tech gadgets. Led Zeppelin may have been the biggest band around, let's say, when you were in high school. But that's no reason you can't get into, let's say, Taylor Swift today.
I don't know. We'll see about that, but that's funny. That's a great analogy there. And you've addressed social isolation on previous
Mhm.
shows, which can be a problem for some,
Yes.
and how it can negatively affect a retired person's physical and financial health. It seems that getting out there and meeting new people can help you maintain both, right?
It can. Definitely, definitely. And while we touched on this earlier in the show, let's also discuss how retirement is the ideal time to finally try some of the things you didn't have time for when you were working and raising a family. For example, fly fishing, maybe a European river cruise, learning Norwegian, even. My clients actually have an incredible array of personal interests. Now, an important note here is that a lot of financial services professionals, me included, recommend to clients that they take at least a year or two to get the hang of retirement before they start making any major decisions on moving, let's say, to a new home or a community. I think this is particularly important if you're considering being, let's say, even a snowbird. no matter how often, let's say you've taken a vacation to a favorite spot, moving to that location permanently is, well, going to be a massive life change that will come with a learning curve. So we always tell folks, when you get into retirement, that's actually called the disoriented stage for the first 18 months to 2 years. And reason being, because you got to get used to all of this stuff.
It's true. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Spending a week once a year in Key West, that's one thing. Sounds good to me too, by the way. But moving there permanently is another matter entirely, right? Does your potential new home have the medical facilities you need? What's the restaurant scene like? Is the budget built for your current community robust enough to handle higher living expenses?
Right.
Different areas cost more. Or here's a big one: how close is it to an airport so your kids and grandkids can come visit? How convenient is it for family? So these are all questions you have to ask before you move somewhere new, right?
Yeah, and I recommend to my clients like I said, the first couple of years, if you're going to snowbird, rent for a few months, go to different places, feel it out. You get a better feel that way, like a trial run, basically. Okay. Yeah. So now we don't get overly specific about investing on our show because, again, we just don't have the time and to be thoroughly addressing all the rules and regulations as well as the pluses and the minuses. But with that in mind, if investing is part of your, let's say, financial strategy, but I'd strongly recommend working with the financial services professional if you aren't already.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't want to work on any part of my financial strategy without the help of someone like yourself, Albert, a financial services professional who's a fiduciary, right?
Yeah. Oh, you'd be surprised, Tony, how many folks are trying to do it on their own. And they're making those little mistakes here and there. So be careful.
You can make really costly mistakes.
Now, another way to work towards, let's say, a rewarding and fulfilling retirement is also to focus on your health. Now, certainly the healthier you are, the more likely it is that you'll get to enjoy new hobbies and experiences. But even more importantly, doing all you can to maintain your health could help you protect your nest egg as well. In fact, a banana instead of a candy bar, well, isn't just good for your waistline. It's also good for your budget, Tony.
Yeah, good point. Although, it brings a tear to my eye to pass up that pizza buffet, right?
Yes.
Give up those pizza buffets.
Maybe one every month could.
Cut back to one a month rather than a pizza buffet a day. Right?
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, during this episode, you've been talking about creating a financial and personal balance, that will help us enjoy a stable and content retirement. You want financial stability, but you also want contentment and to be able to have fun. What do you have for us in our final segment today?
Well, we've talked a lot today about things like, time with family, new hobbies, and avoiding social isolation. And while those things certainly matter, there's no escaping the biggest retirement reality. Money matters. And while some lucky retirees will have more money than they'll need, most have to live within a budget. So a second AARP article titled 7 Ways to Live a Little in Retirement actually offers up some details and information that I think many of you listening today, will find interesting. First, the article suggests working with a financial services professional. And if I do say so myself, that's a great idea, obviously. Now, think of your retirement as a coin flip. On one side of the coin is optimism and excitement, and the other side of the coin is worry and anxiety about having enough money to see you through. By working with the financial services professional, your retirement won't come down to a coin flip, folks. It will come down to building an actual strategy and sticking to it. That's the key.
Yeah. Well, a strategy sounds better than a coin flip to me. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Now, it's also important to make sure that you and your spouse agree on your retirement strategy. In other words, be on the same page, folks. It just helps, especially working with that financial service professional. And then regardless of how often you and your spouse agree on things, it's likely that your visions for the ideal retirement won't be identical, but that's okay. But by having an honest and detailed conversation before you retire with your financial services professional, you're far more likely to have a smoother transition to retirement. And don't worry. A little difference of opinion isn't the end of the world. That's why you guys been married for this long.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with each spouse having a hobby or interest that they would like to pursue on their own as well.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, what if you wanted to take a bus tour around the Great Lakes, but your spouse wants to spend time in the Caribbean, right? Or the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So a conversation with you, Albert, might reveal ways you could do both. So make sure you're having this conversation with each other and a financial professional to see, hey, maybe we can do both of those things this year. So what's next?
Well, as you get deeper, let's say into your retirement, become more confident that your financial strategy is solid, be sure to be cautious about big changes, to how you're spending money. If you've previously avoided, let's say, spending money out of the savings or out of your savings, but are now thinking about diving into it, what would that do to your overall financial strategy? Or let's say, again, considering travel, what would traveling more often, especially to more expensive destinations, mean for your retirement a handful of years down the road? Would it eat up enough of your nest egg that it might make it more difficult to secure long-term care services when, let's say, you're in your 80s? I don't want to discourage you from traveling, but I urge you to crunch your numbers with your financial service professional before you book your tickets. It's very important.
Yeah, again, it's never a bad idea to bounce your ideas and plans off
Mhm.
your financial services professional.
No, it may sound overly simple, folks, but the truth is there's lasting value in creating a list of, let's say, your retirement goals, and then going over that list with your financial service professional who can help you ensure your goals and budgets are aligned. Also, don't forget that if you begin retirement in, let's say, good health, there's a decent chance that your health will eventually decline, at least modestly, which means you may not be able to do some of those things on the list. So if your goal includes travel or, let's say, strenuous new hobbies, you should put those near the top of your list first.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't wait until you're 10 years into the retirement to take surfing lessons, right?
Oh boy, yes,
Yeah.
Tony. Sure. Oh my
Actually,
goodness.
I moved to Southern California, south of Los Angeles, when I was in my early 20s
Okay.
for a job out there, and I tried surfing once. It is the hardest thing ever.
It is
Uh,
hard.
it's
Yes.
probably one of the most difficult sports. People watch it and say, "I'd like to try that." Very few people have the ability to surf.
Yes.
It's pretty incredible. You have to have amazing balance and really know what you're doing. So anyway, yeah, don't wait 10 years into retirement to take surfing
Right.
lessons.
And
That's
be
for
and,
sure.
and be a good swimmer. Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To
when
even
you
go
fall when
swimming,
you fall down too
to
much.
go into the ocean, you should be a really good swimmer because
Right.
of the undercurrents. Yeah.
Well, a fulfilling retirement may also include, let's say, loosening your wallet on occasions. Thoughtfully splurging now and then may also help break up, that retirement routine a bit or the monotony by adding, let's say, a little excitement to your life. Maybe it's upgrading those plane tickets to first class one time or paying a little more for a hotel room with a nice view of the ocean. Now, it all comes down to something I stress with my clients. Retirement isn't just a destination where you sit and mark time. It's a reward for decades of hard work. And that means you should position yourself to have fun and enjoy yourself. Put some purpose in activities and make retirement awesome. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I like that reminder that retirement isn't just a random event. It's a
Hmm.
significant part of your life. For a lot of
Yes.
people, it'll be a third of your life.
Hmm.
Really, your life is broken up into three segments. There's youth, there's the middle age and working years, and then there's retirement. So it's not the end, it's a new beginning. And I think you need to have financial discipline to get there and to have a fun and successful retirement. You need to also work with a financial professional.
Yes, and I have to agree with all of that you just mentioned, Tony, and add that, folks, think about the first 25 years of your life after you became an adult and started your family and career. And 25 years is going through all the tough times and getting to where you are today now. And then you're going to go into retirement for it could be another 25 or more years. But
Yeah.
now think about how much more fun this 25
Mhm.
years can really be.
Yes.
You know, and that's the idea. And also, I recommend treating your retirement as an opportunity to build memories as well with your loved ones that they'll recall fondly for the rest of their own lives. You know, take the whole family to, let's say, Paris or Disney World, rent an RV and go on a national parks tour. One of my clients just did that, you know, and whatever your interests, share them with your family. And again, building a strategy with your financial service professional, well, it can help you to include these wonderful types of experience in your complete retirement, folks.
Well, great show today, Albert. Do you have anything else for us before we go today?
Listeners, you can visit my website if you want to learn more about having fun and balancing your retirement. Just go to www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, or call my office 586-752-7008. Remember, it is our goal to help you prepare for your retirement that you've worked so hard for, so you can own your retirement, folks.
Excellent. Thanks, Albert. And listeners, that does it for today's episode of Own Your Retirement with our host, Albert Lalonde.
Take care, everybody.